Did you pull it out already?
Well, oh, you want to put it?
No, I want to see the charging part.
Oh, what?
Yeah. This is just so crazy. This is such a gimmick. I love it so much. It's so good.
Thank you, Larry.
All right. Oh, what the? All right, so you just pull it out right there. That's the charging part.
That's it.
Oh my god. All right, Bissy's gonna pull this thing out and we're gonna talk about it. I love this thing so much. It's so cool. Now this is when it goes brum 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 brum.
It's already on.
It's on.
Water pump. But it's a Bosch one, so it's so quiet.
Who's pushing it? How is it moving? How is this moving? They say this is so weird. Oh my goodness. What the?
Know that this is the future, right? This is the future.
The future is now!
For years, I've been a die-hard petrol head, like for years. Small displacement, high RPM engines is where I started off. I was really against anti-EV.
You're crushing my soul a little bit right now, Bissy. What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Hoonigan Autofocus. We are focusing on autos, and this is a very interesting automobile. My good friend Bissy,
hello.
He built a very interesting 935 Porsche for the SEMA show this last year, and it's sitting right here. I love the livery.
Thank you.
But as you said, this is the future.
It is.
I mean, I don't want to say unfortunately it's the future. I welcome EV. I'm all about it. You know, as long as it can look this good and as long as it can perform.
Right.
You know, I was there when Volkswagen broke the record. Actually, we were working for Volkswagen following the IDR Pikes Peak car actually go up Pikes Peak. And so we followed that whole process, and I saw that when Romain Dumas was driving that thing and he was like passing us, he was moving so much air and it was just so much downforce that it sounded like a jet airplane going by. And it was very cool to kind of see that EV really is, that's it. It's not so much as the future, it's the present.
I agree, I concur.
Let's start from the beginning. Let's start from the top. Tell me a little bit about how you started even to think about this project.
Well, I love going fast. I love speed. And I've actually been very anti-electric car for a while because I felt it was soulless and not cool and made no sounds. Until 2010, we did a car for American Honda, the CRZ, which was supposed to be a CRX replacement to some level. And when I found out it was a hybrid, I said, I don't want that. That doesn't sound very good. Hybrids were synonymous with and things that were not cool and not hip. And I said, you know what, Honda, I have a perfect idea. Let me take this hybrid setup with an inline 4 and an integrated motor assist that was pretty much a generator and absorption unit, throw it out and put a K-series in it. They said, absolutely not. This is our future. You need to stay with this. And I'm glad they did, because I spent a lot of time understanding technology and experiencing for the first time the amazing ability for an electric motor to have full torque at 1 RPM. And it opened my eyes a little bit. Then the NSX came years later. And Acura sent a ton of them here for us to evaluate. And my wife and I took it to the drag strip in Irwindale. Can you believe it? We're killing Hellcats and fully built Evos and crazy, with a bone stock car. And the reason why isn't because the NSX makes so much power at the factory. The electric motors allowed for instantaneous torque off the line with a seamless integration into the petrol engine. And that told me that something was up.
And that's kind of the thing is a lot of these cars now, it's not so much that they have more power, it's just that they're using the power that they have efficiently. Like you have a SRT Dodge Viper in there, right? And while I'm sure that thing has so much power and it's really fast still for this day and age, it's just one of those things where you just potentially can't put the power down as much versus an electric vehicle like the NSX, because I mean, it's making micro adjustments in milliseconds, you know, in terms of how much power it's putting down, assessing how much traction it actually has.
Even above and beyond that, think about how the internal combustion engine works. It starts off inefficiently with low torque at low RPM, goes up to peak torque and peak efficiency and falls off rapidly. We don't have that with electric motors. It can start off very high in torque, maintain for an extended period of time, and then gradually, as efficiency goes down, taper off a little bit. So the tuning capabilities are limitless. And I'm finding that out, especially after building this. I was blown away.
All right, so before you guys go further and then kind of hate on Bisi in the comments, you know, he built that 1,000 horsepower Honda Odyssey. And I think one of my favorite quotes from Bisi, when I asked him to do a burnout, I was like, hey, can you do a burnout? He's like, of course. And he tried to do, this is a fun story. I love telling this story every time I talk about Bisi. He tried to do a burnout and it would just bog and it would shut off. And I'm like, what's going on? Why isn't it doing a burnout? It has 1,000 horsepower. And then Bisi's like, let me try second gear. And I'm like, what do you mean try second gear? He's like, I start in third gear. With every one of my cars doing burnouts. So this guy's insane. And of course, when he started in second gear, it lit up the tires like you wouldn't believe.
That torque multiplication, once again, is torque again.
Right, so at heart, Bisi is a big petrol head. Now you're just a car nut.
I am.
Let's go over this beautiful 935.
Sounds good.
What did this actually start life as?
This started life as a standard 1984 SC 911. So standard narrow body, I picked it up as a roller. Interesting story. The original chassis was destined to a life of never seeing a track or a street again. So I saved this. I bought it from a gentleman by the name of Ron Palmer. He was the president of POC. And it was a car that he had that had a little dent in the side. His girl was gonna drive it and decided she wanted something newer. And it was just parked in his parents' house, and that was it. It was never gonna see the road. And I was able to grab that vehicle and create what it exists today. Now, what's interesting, you see this bodywork, of course it doesn't look like an SC. Because this is a pull, a fiberglass pull from the original Kremer 3 molds. So for those of you who may remember Group 5 racing of Porsche in the 80s, they had a very, very formidable Porsche 935, and that car dominated. It just, I mean, against BMW, you name it, it was a force to be reckoned with. And the factory Porsche had their own 935s, but this German tuner Kremer put their own take to the aero and engine aspects of the chassis and just destroyed even factory cars, which is great. So it's a very iconic Porsche.
So this is inspired from it, or is this the actual Kremer body?
Found a Kremer mold in SoCal. And had it pulled. I can't get another one. Because I don't think we're supposed to have it. But we got it.
So this is basically like a mold?
Put it this way, if you had a Kremer K3 and you went to the historic event and crashed it, the person who we pull these molds for is who you call up. It's like a very tight-knit community.
Let's just say I know a guy who knows a guy who knows another guy.
And you get the replacement component for it, for your original crema. So we're able to get the entire body from that particular individual.
So my favorite part about this body kit is, yeah, it's slant nose, but the lights,
Yes.
the way the lights are and how it kind of continues the lines of the front bumper, it's honestly my favorite part of this car. I think it's so beautiful. And then on top of that, how crazy the aero is. You go to the rear. I feel like just not many cars kind of hold the candle to how crazy this aero is. And you can kind of see the original part of the 911 underneath it. And that's kind of why I love it so much. It's so cool. In terms of the exterior, like what else? Can we go over some of this stuff?
Absolutely.
So do these ducts actually do something? Does he
now,
actually?
in this case, for what I'm doing now, my batteries in the rear, I'm giving away so much already, are air cooled. So this ducting allows me to get some cool air to my batteries as well to keep thermal management in check. But what's really interesting is, as you've known me for a long time, Larry, I've always loved the beauty of classic 911s, but I'm not a fan of old technology. So even in my petrol-based engines, I tend to put the latest technology, water-cooled engines, to the dismay and chagrin of a lot of purists. I tend to put new technology in older chassis. So in this case, I wanted to retain the look and the feel of the old school Kremer, but with very subtle current updates. So you wouldn't see carbon fiber wings or even cards on the old school Kremers. You wouldn't see a dual plane wing on that either. So I combined a little magic from APR, did something very unique with our own canards as well and our own winglets. And then, of course, in the front, instead of using the old school lights that were like almost hella based, we have modern optics from 911. So even when the vehicle's on, I have, believe it or not, daytime running lights. Yes, daytime running lights on a 935. So that little strip right there, it's a nice little LED halo that exists when I'm driving around.
I mean, the whole style, which, by the way, my good friend Andy Blackmore,
yes,
he designed this.
Andy's amazing.
He's amazing.
You remember the Garcia Porsche K3?
Yeah, he designs really, really awesome cars, and I think some of the most iconic drift liveries he actually designed that actually competed in the U.S.
With some inspiration from the Garcia K3, Andy Blackmore took that little inspiration and did his magic to create the livery you see here today, which is absolutely fantastic. And he even designed the wheels that Briggs & Forge brought to life with some nice nods to Formula E. So
yeah, so tell me a little bit about the wheels. So this is kind of like a turbofan like throwback.
But it has inspiration from the old school turbofans, but also some nice indication from what you may see with our friends from Formula E. And as you look at the original wheel here, it's still very attractive inside, with some large stop tech brakes as well. And once again, all of this design element comes from what you may see with Formula E vehicles. Once again, giving a nod to the future while also respecting the past.
I mean, so is this 3D printed?
Yes, it is. So something we didn't have access to in the 80s, we're not using too much vigor nowadays.
What about the rear?
Same thing. So you look at, one thing that it's so amazing that the old school 935s did is that they had a smaller wheel in the front, they had a 16, and definitely like a 18 in the rear. Well, we took it like one step up. So we have, in that case, a 17 in the front and a 19 in the rear. And they ran, what, Goodyear slicks back in the day? Of course, we want to use something, once again, modern. So I run Toyo RRs all around to give me that adhesion, but it still scrambles for that great traction. As I'll show you in a moment, this thing has a hard time hooking. It makes a lot of power.
It's so wide. So how wide are the wheels in the back?
12.5.
And the front?
I believe they're 9s.
Okay, 9 in the front,
Yes,
12
9 in the front,
back.
12.5 in the rear.
I'm just kind of walking around it, and I really also like the fact that it's not too wide. The wing is kind of like the size of a normal one you would see on a 911.
So what you see on 935, this is actually the exact same dimension that they used, and it was within rules. They had to maintain this particular wingspan. And even with something as simple as these like little winglets in the rear, same thing. We try the best as possible to mimic what they did in the 80s, but with a nice modern flair to it.
Oh, so cool. I mean, okay, so you kind of know something is special here, because normally on your builds, if you look back here, there's going to be 2 large snails.
Yes.
But down here, it looks like a bunch of aluminum.
Yes,
something is. I'm guessing it's the battery down there?
Yes, that's a battery box down there. And in this case, for both weight distribution and ease, we have 12 LG Chem battery cells. They're about this large, about 38 pounds each. They create about 60.7 volts. And put together, it creates this opportunity for a 360 to 400 volt system, which I use to power this wonderful 475 kilowatt motor, which is very impressive indeed. So I love talking power, always have. For those of you who are not very well versed with kilowatts, that's about 636 horsepower, for what you may be accustomed to. And the torque is absolutely amazing. North of 600 pound for the torque, and I can realize that in 1 RPM.
I don't even know what to say about that.
Well, Larry, one thing that's really interesting is you may see other people out there with conversions, which is great. The EV community is like the wild old west. There's so much going on. But the one thing I didn't like about the conversions I saw out there, especially from peer engineers, was that they were many times quite cumbersome. Some had these weird cumbersome screens. Some have all these switches you have to hit after a period of time. As a builder and also an enthusiast, I made this as easy as possible to drive and to navigate.
So, and that's kind of the thing, is also most of the EVs that you see now in terms of new ones, they're all-wheel drive.
Yes.
This one is still rear-wheel drive.
It's still rear-wheel drive.
So it's still a lot of fun to drive.
It is. It really is.
All right, so let's take a look at the interior here real quick. So on the interior, it's all business. It looks like a crazy 935 street build.
Yeah.
That like this, if you just showed me pictures of the interior here and you didn't say anything about the power package, I wouldn't be able to know. I mean, because it has there's a shifter there for whatever reason. And you still even have an AEM dash.
Yes, I do.
Which is kind of cool that you integrated that somehow. It still says Bisimoto. Yeah, everything here doesn't really say anything about it being electric. Tell me about this.
So, as you can see right there in the dash, I have something that will be very commonplace to see with any enthusiast. You have the standard tachometer that you'll see in any given vehicle, but instead of your standard 8,000, 9,000 RPM, this goes to 18,000 RPMs for my red line. I have information here, as you may see, like TPS. So if I move my throttle position, you see the throttle position moving as well, right there. I have my high voltage readout as well. I have low voltage readout. I have vehicle speed, an odometer to show how many miles I've had since my last reset, and also in real-time power in terms of horsepower and torque.
Okay, so this is kind of really actually smart of AEM. Is this kind of a thing that they're developing?
Great question. The one thing about the AEM dash is it's very modular and very customizable. So even though when we built this car, AEM just had a standard dash, I was able to create this layout and to use the CAN communication that exists with the custom controller to be able to change that data with what is known as a DBC file to read out exactly what I want to see. So meaning, what is a petrol car, an EV car, a hydrogen car, you can configure the layout to what you want to see, and with some interpretation via CAN, you can put out whatever data that you need that's pertinent.
Okay, so why the shifter though? Why do you even need a shifter?
Once again, I mentioned to you earlier on how most engineers have these crazy switches and screens. I'm an enthusiast. So if you want to initiate gear to go forward, you push forward. To go backwards, you pull backwards. I use that to initiate the direction of the car.
So the car is on right now?
It is on. And the reason why I didn't do anything, because I didn't push on the brake. But if I press on the brake and push forward, it shows D, so it's in drive now. And if I pull backwards, it shows reverse, and it's in reverse right now. My reverse lights are on.
So this only has one gear forward and one gear backwards?
That is correct. Single gear forward and single gear reverse.
So do you know the top speed of this thing yet?
Based upon my calculations with the RPM and tire size, I can do 165 with the current gear ratios that I have.
I don't even, wow. That's incredible. That is so cool.
Thank you so much.
And I'm sure a lot of people ask you about this too, and I think everyone's gonna hate me for not asking you, but what do you think about range-wise, what this?
Great question. My current goal is 180 miles on a full charge. I've realized 140, but it's totally my fault because I can't keep my foot out of this thing. So that being said,
So how many miles have you actually put on this build?
I would say about 217 miles.
And then out of one full charge, you've gotten 140.
140, but I misbehaved. That's me misbehaving.
Yeah, that's with
I
you.
can't drive anywhere without someone trying to mess with me, and I keep.
You don't even let it regen. I'm sure you just.
I do. I try to, but I can't get my foot out of it. It's so much fun. You know, I hear things online about people saying, oh, electric cars have no soul, so on and so forth. Guys, if you drive something like this, you come to realize that it's not true. I don't even miss the sound of a petrol engine. It even has its own unique sound that's quite intoxicating. As you may notice in the back of the vehicle, I don't have any kind of demarcation between the rear and the front. All the engine noise pumps into the cabin, and it has this jet-like, somewhat mechanical sound to it. It's really intoxicating.
Well, you just did a little burnout here.
What the?
Like it, I couldn't believe how fast this thing was like accelerated. So does this even have traction control?
Yes, it does. The great thing about EV technology is that you have full control over the torque and how it's being initiated and the curve that exists. So I have traction control. I even have one mode that may be equivalent to what Tesla may see with a ludicrous mode, where it ignores all thermal limitations and can even go crazier than I've ever experienced. And I'm even scared to try that.
That also means you can change the modes in terms of like how much it regens or how much
Yes,
you can
yes,
actually
I can.
coast.
Yes, I can. I can have a setup where it has this, how should I say, creep function, where it can act like an automatic transmission and creep forward. I can have no regen whatsoever. I can have full regen, which I have now, which initiates about 140 kilowatts of regen, so it allows me to charge up my batteries very nicely. I have a lot of fail-safes built in, which is very, very important. So if you try and press on the brake and give the accelerator at the same time, it won't allow you to do that. Or if I'm charging and you want to drive the car away during charging, it will not allow the motor to initiate, so you cannot drive away. Or if my water temps go really haywire, it'll go into a limp mode and slow you down until your temperatures get back to a safe level and allows you to have fun again.
Okay, so and that kind of opens up some other questions. Like, I'm sorry, I'm kind of an EV dummy, so I'm asking Bissi a lot of these questions that I'm actually very curious about. So it does have water cooling.
Yes, it does. So in the very front of the vehicle, I have a Gt3.
Can we take
Heat
a look at that?
exchanger, yes.
One of my favorite things about this is that the charging port is actually where normally you would fill up fuel.
That is correct.
That's so cool. All right, so you have GT3.
Right there, I have a Gt3 heat exchanger. I use a CSF unit, which is very, very efficient, and I use that to cool down my motor. I use it to cool down my inverter. I use it to cool down my stator. It's a very efficient system. I use a Bosch pump to be able to circulate a mixture of ethylene glycol, water vapor, and water, distilled water.
Can we open it?
Hell no.
I want to see this.
I can't. It's a secret for now.
All right, so we can't see under the hood for now, but eventually once this is kind of out of the prototype phase, then we can definitely take a look at it. But another question is, how does the brakes work?
Great question.
There's no vacuum?
Yes, so you've seen most of my cars. I have these crazy center seat vehicles that you've seen, so on and so forth. I have the mechanical. So I literally have a standard Willwood Master going to the stop take brakes. But you know what's weird? Recently I drove from here to Rancho Cucamonga and back. I didn't have to touch my brakes at all. The regen is so, yeah, where it takes the energy that I need to slow down when I let off the throttle, and it brings me to complete stop while recharging my batteries at the same time.
So you're saying the system you have here is manual brakes?
Yes, it is. Now, in the event that I wanted assisted brakes, you can have electric vacuum pumps that you can initiate in the car, and when the vehicle's on or on demand, you can have the vacuum initiate or even hold a canister where you can use that to be able to assist the brakes. So for me, I like the mechanical brakes. It feels more race-like. I'm more connected with the road. For clients who want this car and wanted something that's assisted, we can easily incorporate that for them.
And so that's the thing, is you're planning on actually building this and selling it?
Absolutely. And even if I didn't want to, we get people right now who are begging for us to replicate this for them.
All right, so what about the power steering?
Same thing. If there's a need for power steering, we can do something a little bit hydro and electronic. Once again, with my center seat is a perfect example where we used an electric pump to actuate a hydraulic system. But as an old school Porsche, they didn't come with those at all, at least pre-964s. And this case is very nice. I wouldn't even mind you driving it so you can get a feel and see what I mean by that.
I love this. I love Bissy. I don't even have to scumbag him. He's gonna let me drive it.
Yes.
I've never driven anything this crazy, so. All right, let's go for a ride. I think we did enough talking. You want me to drive? You don't want to drive?
I drive my car all the time.
Okay, all right.
I want you to drive.
But I do want you to, if you could just do like a pull from the outside. I want to get it.
When we come back.
Okay, when we come back. All right. Missy, you just.
Larry, I love you.
I'm so happy to be here right now. I really am. I just can't believe it.
Let me pop your electric cherry.
Oh man, this is so cool. Pop my electric cherry. That's happening. I'm excited. This is so cool. I can't believe it. First, and on top of that, driving a 935 is like. All right, so I can pull this forward a little bit.
Yeah, you can pull it forward as much as you want.
How usable! Like this is so cool. All right.
That's good.
Okay. Whoa. So
Larry, it's really simple. It's really simple. Okay. And you can use one foot. You don't have to.
I'm just kind of feeling it out.
No worries.
Okay.
Okay. So to start the vehicle, just put in number 2 position.
So
that's it. That's it.
Oh,
right
that's
there.
it. Okay.
Okay. So you see, it has this cool boot up sequence and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you want to move forward, you just, like I said, put on the brake, forward.
I gotta do the Instagram thing. That's so cool. I can't believe this is my job. I still can't believe it. Oh,
and if we get to a speed bump, you see that button that's next to the key?
Oh, that's KW.
Yeah, that's a lift for the front.
You have an HLS system.
Yeah, I do.
So cool.
Just in case.
All right.
So now you can move forward.
All right, I'm trying. Oh, this is so weird. Oh, I see what you mean. There's like.
Yeah, it's not
There's
bad.
like a sound.
Yeah, you can hear it. And let's turn
What
this
is
way.
that sound?
Let's turn this way. So that's my
gears,
yeah, it's the gears. It's literally the differential gears and the motor and all that fun stuff.
Oh, I actually do want to see it now.
Okay, go a little bit more. Yeah.
Whoa. Well, it has an interesting noise. Oh. Oh, the regen is a lot.
Let's go straight. Let's go straight. Yeah, it is, and I can adjust it, but I like full regen.
All right,
it's really cool.
So HLS.
Yes, you can press that up. Just press that
so
once.
are these KW club sports or?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
And we'll just go over the speed bump.
Oh yeah.
It just lifted by 4 inches up top.
Right. I have these on my
9 and 6. Bring it back down again. Awesome.
Wow, it's actually cool. You can actually hear the fluid going in and out. It's so quiet. Like I can have a normal conversation with you.
I couldn't do this in the Blue 911.
I can't believe I'm driving this thing.
Let's go up there.
All right. Oh, should I lift it again?
I think we maybe make it.
All right. Oh, this is so weird that there's no clutch. Okay, I'm just trying out the brakes. Oh my God.
Just go straight.
Can I give it some gas?
Give it a little bit, see what happens.
Oh, it just popped my seat.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's awesome, huh?
All right, I just.
Try it.
It just all go.
And you know what's
There's
weird?
like no.
My battery's so low.
Really?
I wish I knew I could have. Turn left.
So everything works.
Yeah, my
like
indicators
the lights,
work,
everything
my
works.
horn works. Yeah.
All right, can I try from a stop?
Yeah, you could.
Oh my God! Are you serious?
It's awesome, huh? And this
wait,
is,
so
Larry, this is
wait, so
I'm not even full, I'm like maybe 40% power.
Wait, so it's allowing it to slip a little because I had to correct to keep straight.
Yeah.
So it's allowing just enough slip.
Of course. So I have my traction control function on and all that kind of stuff.
Oh my God. So this
but
is.
at 400, because right now we're about 340 volts. At 400 volts, this is terrifying.
This is a lot of fun though.
It is.
Already.
It is.
I'm just gonna make you. So which also, by the way, I'm not missing no power steering at all. The front end is really light.
It is.
How much do you think this weighs?
I know what it weighs. 2681 to be exact.
Wow, it's really light.
Not bad.
It's gonna sound really stupid, but it's like a normal car.
It is.
But it's so crazy looking. Alright, I'm gonna try it one more time. Are these your marks here?
Yeah. Okay, forgive me.
Oh my God! Look, like it just steps out.
Yeah, it does.
It's like a normal crazy car. Oh my! My mind is so blown right now. Thank you, Busy.
No, thank you, Larry.
Wow.
And you go straight. You go straight. We'll go to the driveway. Put the HLS on and.
Oh my God! This is a blast to drive. I see why. Okay, I get it now. But you know what? The nice thing is, in this day and age, we can have both.
Yes. Amen.
We can have this, which is, it's not that it's the future. This is the present because you have it now.
Of course.
And this is, you know, you can hoon, you can have fun.
Absolutely.
You can enjoy cars, and you can be responsible.
Amen.
In terms, you can be responsible environmentally.
I mean, imagine
this
is
saying
50 state legal. As it looks, with all the kind of misbehavior I can do with it, it's amazing.
50 state legal.
Yeah. I passed the California bar. You can HLS up here.
Oh my God! All right, lift this. That's the loudest thing of this car.
Yeah,
the lift. Oh, crazy. I get it. You know, you don't miss it. You don't miss the noise if it's that fast. If it pushes you back, and you could see this last time, just to try to keep it straight, it was already a handful. You know, it's such a handful, and
so
plus on top of that, these are so sticky. These tires are so sticky.
Yeah, ours.
And how wide are they?
They are 345s.
All right, you just blew my mind.
Thank you, Larry.
This
and
is
what I like
so
to do
cool.
is, once again, how many visits again, and we're trying to disable all the limitations and see what happens.
Yeah, yeah.
You get in a lot of trouble with this. Oh, Sam's here.
Oh my God. All right,
that's
you
it.
break up.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, that's it. Because right now you're not putting any energy to the motor, so you won't move.
You blew my mind just now.
Thank you so much, Larry. Like, I did a disservice to you.
Why?
Because I really thought we were doing stills.
Oh,
I didn't have
okay.
full power on this. Larry, you would
No,
die.
it's okay.
400 volts, you'd die. Like, it's now it's like it's cool. You
So,
should add full volts.
this is
crazy.
Guys, this is the way that EV is going to kind of be accepted by the enthusiasts when it's this cool. You can do burnouts, you can drift, you can go really fast. This thing is so fast. I mean, yeah, I get it. There's EVs that are, honestly, they're boring, right? They're just for they're just for range.
Transportation.
They're just for transportation. And those are the ones that, if they keep coming out with those, the enthusiasts will push them away and they will not drive them. The ones that are like the Tesla Model S and the Model 3 and the X and the performance aspect, and then you have things like this that look good also.
Thank you.
That's what it's going to do it. But he's going to do a launch for us.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see how fast it takes off here. Just incredible. I just smell the rubber. I don't smell anything else. It's just rubber. It's so sticky too. Look at that thing. Just so futuristic. I'm sold. I'm sold. I'm sold. Thank you so much for showing us this.
Thank you, Larry.
Thank
it's a
you.
pleasure indeed.
And also, really, keep building cool things like
yes.
this.
The future is very bright. The best is yet to come.
And that's a wrap.